Hello everyone, I am Bufar1on1. There has been a plethora of videos talking about Rey and who she is. In one theory, she's a Skywalker, or a Kenobi. In another, she's the reincarnation of the Chosen One. On its face, these aren't bad conclusions. A bit predictable, but not bad. But I think there's one most people have overlooked. One theory that could explain away, as well as use, the complaints many have had about Rey's character, myself included. However, before I get into that, I want to highlight some of my problems with her to set the stage. These will be important. To sum up real quick, my issues with Rey, again, see the video for details. I don't like the fact that she is able to do things such as a Jedi mind trick and telekinetics without any training. She's able to do shit that took Luke 3 movies to do. It felt unearned. I also didn't like how every character fawned over her and thought she was amazing, despite knowing her for only a few days tops. With these complaints in mind, I want to point to Legends material. More specifically, I want to point to Knights of the Old Republic 2: The Sith Lords. To sum up the plot rather quickly, the game follows the Jedi exile, a woman named Mitra Surik. During the Mandalorian Wars, she followed a Jedi named Revan, like many other Jedi in the Order, to war against the Mandalorians who were attacking the Republic. The Jedi Order refused to get involved, so these rogue Jedi took it upon themselves to fight this threat. During the final battle of the war, Mitra activated a weapon known as the Mass Shadow Generator, resulting in the deaths of millions, possibly billions, and the near destruction of Malachor 5. However, Mitra, who had talent in creating powerful force bonds, felt the deaths of these people and it left its mark. The trauma of the event cut off her connection to the Force, but it also did something to her, something the Jedi Council at the time didn't truly understand.
Much defiance in that one.
You were correct, Kavar. When she was here, I felt it. It was as if she was not there, more like an echo.
The war has touched the youngest of the Order. Many of them have lost themselves in battle against the Mandalorians.
We have not lost a Jedi this day. You felt it. She has lost herself. She is no Jedi. She walked Revan's path, but she was not strong enough.
I fear it is our teachings that may have led Revan to choose the path he did.
We are not the ones who taught him.
We take responsibility, Atris, not cast blame.
The choice of one was the choice of us all. Revan's teacher intended no harm, and Revan had many teachers since.
Yet they all stem from the same source. Her teachings violated the Jedi Code and lead all who listen to the dark side, as they did the exile.
You are wrong. The dark side is not what I sensed in the exile. Surely the rest of you felt it as well. That emptiness we felt. She has changed.
Whatever that wound was, it was of the dark side. We should not have let her depart. She will simply join Revan again, or perhaps worse.
What would you have done with her, Atris? Be mindful of your feelings. This is not Revan who stood before you. This one walks a different path.
No, although that may come in time. We let her go because we must. Where she travels, she carries her destination with her.
Malachor 5 should have been her grave. You saw it in her walk, and in the Force. It was as if she was already dead.
No, not death. Many battles remain for that one, if what we have seen is true. But the future is a shifting thing, and she cuts like a blade through it.
We should have told her the truth. A Jedi deserved to know.
No good would have come from it, even if what you believe was true. There's still the matter of Revan, and such truths could leave us vulnerable on 2 fronts.
Perhaps in many years we will call her before us and explain what happened to her, and how she may be healed. Until then, she must accept her journey.
But she may never discover the truth. And she will never know why we cast her out.
And that is the future we must accept.
Eventually, Mitra would return to the wider galaxy after being exiled, only to discover the Jedi Order was all but gone. This led to the Sith hunting her down, believing she was the last Jedi, a distinction I'll talk about later. On Paragus, where the game begins, Mitra starts to regain her connection to the Force. With this, she meets Atton Rand, and her journey to find the Jedi Council who exiled her would begin. I cut out a lot there to save time, but over her adventures, her connection to the Force would grow stronger and stronger, as would her bonds with those around her. You see, in the game there are several companions, all of which you build a strong relationship with. Through your actions, these companions start to love Mitra, for lack of a better term. But more importantly, the companions slowly begin to act more and more like Mitra. If Mitra walks the path of the Jedi, then so too will her companions. But if she falls to the dark side, her companions will also fall. After finding every Jedi Master who exiled her, it is revealed that Mitra is a wound in the Force. Here's a clip from the game to show what I'm getting at.
We cast you out of the Order because you followed Revan to war. There was no other reason.
No, there was another. You had become different somehow, changed. The war had changed you.
You were no longer a Jedi, but we could not tell you why. Some explanations mean nothing unless the one who suffers comes to the answer on their own. What had happened to you was punishment enough, and the Jedi do not kill their prisoners.
And if you had stayed, you would have changed us, and that we could not allow.
You already know the answer. You've noticed it in those who travel with you.
Have you noticed that when you act, others follow?
Those that travel with you.
There's something wrong here. A disturbance in the Force.
They follow you, without question, without hesitation.
Against their instincts, and sometimes against their sense.
It is because you are a leader, but that still fails to grasp the meaning of what I'm trying to tell you.
Perhaps not, but it is not that to which I am referring. Surely you are familiar with Force bonds. It is the bond that develops between apprentice and master when one truly understands another. It is developed over time through understanding of each other. Yet you do it so easily, and we do not know why.
You make connections through the Force, and it resonates with those who travel with you. The resonance is even greater when they, too, are Force-sensitive.
Your actions affect others more than you know. You draw others to you, especially those strong in the Force.
When you suffer, their spirit echoes it. We do not know, but it is not the first time you felt the weight of so many lives.
And that is why the Mandalorian Wars echo within you still.
We did not cut you off from the Force. You were merely deafened to it. Because of that last battle of the Mandalorian Wars.
The screams of countless thousands, Jedi and Mandalorians, crushed by the planet's gravity, annihilated.
Their lives still scream across the surface of that dead planet, and within you. To hear the Force over such pain, it is not possible. It was too much for any Jedi to endure, and it is a wonder that you did not die there when thousands perished. All those you had fought with and struggled with. You cut yourself off because you had to if you were to survive. You had hints of it in the war on Doxa. Malachor was simply the final blow.
You were deafened.
At last, you could hear.
You were broken.
You were whole.
You were blinded.
And at last, you saw.
When you returned to us, we saw what had happened. You carry all those deaths at Malachor within you. And it has left a hole, a hunger that cannot be filled.
In you, we saw a wound in the Force.
In you, we saw the end of the Force.
Yes, you can feel the Force, but you cannot feel yourself. You are a cipher, forming bonds, leeching the life of others, siphoning their will and dominating them. It is the teaching of these new Sith to feed on others, on other Force sensitives. They are symptomatic of the wound in the Force. You are a breach that must be closed. You transmit your pain, your suffering through the Force. Within you we see something worse than merely the teachings of the Sith. What you carry may mean the death of the Force, and the death of the Jedi. So you think. It is not the strength of a Jedi you feel.
He's right. It's all the death you've caused to get here. You feed on it, and you grow stronger. You're like Malachor. It's in you, it's what you are now. You must have noticed as you fought across all these planets, killing hundreds, only to become more and more powerful. Why do you think that was?
But what's worse is that bonding you have. It hasn't gone away. It's gotten stronger. And the more attachments you form, the more you draw others to you.
And that is why you are a threat to us all.
Mitra is a leech. She is a wound. With every person she kills, she becomes stronger in the Force. As her connection in the Force grows, her abilities to form bonds also grow, which in turn leads to her companions mirroring how Mitra acts, which also makes Mitra even more powerful. Because of Malachor and the trauma that was afflicted upon her, Mitra became a living wound in the Force, much like Darth Sion and Darth Nihilus, and in a roundabout way, she became just like what remained of Malachor 5. Taking this back to Rey, my problems with her are the fact that she is able to learn the Force so quickly despite having no training, and I don't like how other characters think she is the best thing ever. Now let's take a look at Mitra. She is able to learn the Force incredibly fast after being cut off from it for so long. Also, those in her life, her companions, have strong feelings for her and think she is the best thing ever. This was the observation that led me to make this video. Granted, there are 2 points that kind of go against this. Mitra had Jedi training, so it's like relearning to walk, relearning to ride a bike. That is what these abilities are for her. And also, she had the ability previously to create powerful bonds in the Force. I understand this, but I'll kind of touch on this later. To expand upon this further, let's take a look at Rey's past. There is very little we know about it. However, the vision does give us some sort of cryptic insight. Now, this could be foreshadowing for future events, I think it is, but the fact Rey doesn't bring up her past suggests one of 3 things. It was rather mundane and not worth mentioning. There is something she does not want to relive, or she has repressed memories. Memories too traumatic to let resurface. Memories she couldn't deal with. I really doubt the first one is what happened. You don't leave a girl on a desert planet for fun, unless you're into that. But the last 2 suggest something awful happened to her when she was young. Whatever this event was, could have severed her connection to the Force, and in turn, it could have turned Rey into a wound. Within the film, some evidence for this is present. Yes, she does create strong relationships rather quickly, but what I find more telling is the fact she has never done anything with the Force until she's killed someone. Let's take a look at this handy video by Mike Zero. Despite not killing these gangsters outright, her actions got them killed via Rathars. This is similar to how Mitra will get stronger by blowing up a power conduit, killing those near it. After getting these people killed, Rey encounters her first experience with the Force, that being the lightsaber and the vision. Now the vision could come from the lightsaber, but I do have to ask, why didn't Luke get a vision when touching it for the first time? It was his father's. You'd think the connection would have been stronger between those 2. However, I am getting off topic. Using the idea that Rey is a wound, her killing those people strengthened her almost non-existent connection to the Force, and the lightsaber was merely a catalyst for her to experience that vision, be it a repressed memory, a glimpse of the future, or something else entirely. After this, when Rey runs out, she kills several stormtroopers prior to getting captured by Kylo Ren. With this in mind, and again, using the logic she's a wound in the Force, Rey using the mind trick makes a lot more sense. It is a monkey see, monkey do type thing. Ren tried to do it to her, so now she is using Ren's technique to get herself freed. I do not accept this in the film due to there being no explanation, and I doubt the explanation given for this in the future would make up for this. However, by making her a leech, feeding off of the deaths of those troopers, her doing this is more tolerable. and it makes some sense. Mitra is able to do moves rather quickly with no prior instruction, like her ability to read minds, control her breath, see through the Force, etc. She does this in much of the same way Rey did with Ren. Monkey see, monkey do. To add a bit more to this, the longer Mitra's companions were around her, the more they would act like her. I've brought this up before. Now, the only character in the film that really changes is Finn. However, the fact he started out as a man, terrified of the First Order, who ends the film by going toe-to-toe with Kylo Ren, suggests Rey has an influence on people. Finn was all ready to leave Takunda until Rey was captured by Kylo Ren. Some of you may be saying that is because he loved her, because he had strong feelings for her, and that would be my point. He knew her for only a few days tops, and despite wanting to run, Finn not only stood his ground on Takunda to fight, but he went to Starkiller Base just to save her. With this in mind, I believe Rey is able to create powerful bonds and feed, for lack of a better term, off of her companions to get stronger. In Knights of the Old Republic 2, when a companion kills someone, your character also gets that EXP. Your character gets stronger the more people she and her followers kill. With this in mind, in a deleted scene, Rey and Finn are fleeing the scene of Han's death on snowspeeders prior to the lightsaber fight with Kylo Ren. While they're fleeing, Finn kills a stormtrooper and is able to get rid of their pursuers. So, by the time Rey is battling Kylo Ren, not only is she willing to open herself up to the Force, but she is stronger now than when she was on Takunda, allowing her to defeat Kylo Ren. With all of that said, there is one thing I'd like to point out, and that's the ending of The Force Awakens. More specifically, Luke and his reaction of being found. The way he looks at Rey, that look of, "You gotta be kidding me," has to mean something. Now, we won't know for sure what this means until episode 8 or 9 comes out, but if we use the idea that she is a wound in the Force, then his reaction is similar to that of the Jedi Council in KOTOR 2. He is afraid and uncertain as to what all of this means. By making Rey a wound in the Force, not only do you get to use and explain the complaints many have had about her, but you make her inherently insidious. She is a ticking time bomb waiting to go off. She is dangerous and could be the greatest weapon of evil ever. In a way, she is a redux of Anakin in episode 1. He was a great, kind, and intelligent kid, but he grew up to be a monster. The source of Rey's power is the manipulation of her friends and those around her, through the deaths of countless people. Her connection to the Force is not one born through harmony, like that of a Jedi or even Sith, but one born through trauma that is sick and depraved. With her comes a new awakening of the Force, but if she isn't careful, Rey can bring about the permanent death of the Force. Also, Mitra was considered to be the last Jedi. Something to think about. So guys, with all that said, I hope you've enjoyed this. Tell me what you thought down below. I've been Bufar191. I'll see you guys all next time. Goodbye.